Chase, good to see you. You had a tweet earlier that I thought was really interesting, and we're going to start right there with your tweet. You said, here are 5 49er cut candidates and players the Niners could move on from to clear some money before NFL free agency. And you have Jair Brown, Brandon Ayuk, Bryce Huff, Jake Brendel, and D. Winters. And I'll share the screen and let people kind of see the tweets if they haven't seen it. It's a good tweet, and you spent a lot of time on this one, putting together this thing. Tell us a little bit about this tweet, what you think. I would love to see, I like Winters, but I think he's totally replaceable. Brendel, I think, is overrated. Ayuk needs to be banished from the kingdom. I would keep Huff and Brown, but the other 3 guys can bolt as far as I'm concerned. Talk to me a little bit about your viewpoint. I know you threw out the possibility of all 5. Do you want to see all 5 cut, or how would you rank these guys?
So this is a popular segment that I do once or twice a year on the 49ers Report. And for the purpose of yesterday's show, the full long-form video is up on the 49ers Report. I pretty much looked at the Niners cap situation going into 2026, and then I looked at realistic cap casualties who, if the Niners wanted to move on from those players, they could create more cap room and have some more money to spend going into NFL free agency. And you just think about where we are right now on the NFL calendar. Super Bowl is coming up in 2 Sundays at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara between the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. The NFL Combine is at the end of February going into March in Indianapolis. I'll be there. Some great Niners coverage will be up on my channel. And then right after that, the new league year for the NFL starts pretty much the second week of March. That's when free agency gets underway. And the Niners, from a cap standpoint, are in a pretty good position as compared to last year. They let all those players go. They ate over $100 million in dead money. And they really put a focus on getting younger, more affordable, handing out some contract extensions to Brock Purdy, Fred Warner, and George Kittle, focusing on the draft. But John Lynch, during his end of the season press conference last week, did say that this offseason, they expect to have more flexibility, which told me I think they're going to be more aggressive in free agency. So the Niners right now, among the 32 teams in the NFL, are 13th in cap space. They have $23.3 million in cap room, $18.9 million in effective cap space. So I just looked at somewhat realistic moves that the Niners can make in order to free up some more dollars to spend in free agency. Because last year, the marquee addition that they made was Luke Farrell, who ended up not being a factor at all for the Niners here in 2025. And so these aren't players that I would necessarily want the Niners to move off of, but they are moves that are at least feasible to create some cap space, Larry. And you can chime in with some of your thoughts, or I can just continue to go through these players if you want.
Well, no, I mean, it's interesting. Okay, so, if you asked me in the middle of the year about D. Winters, I would say, I kind of like D. Winters, but he missed a lot of tackles the second half of the year. He's kind of small. He gets engulfed in the run game, and I think he's just a guy. I don't see him as special. I think he's athletic and a little on the faster side, but nothing special. So I get no problems with moving on from him, though that would create another hole in an already a linebacking core that already badly needs to be rebuilt. So I could see them saying, well, we'd like to keep him just for continuity's sake so we don't have 4 new linebackers in Fred. Because, you're not keeping Wallow, you're not keeping Kendricks, you're not keeping Curtis Robinson. I don't know if you're keeping Gifford. They could be a totally new linebacking core, and they probably should be. So Winters is the one that's kind of a question mark. Brendel, this is like starting to bug me. I mean, it's starting to annoy me, actually. This, there is no amount of failure that we need to see while people keep touting Jake Brendel. I mean, you could not run for a yard on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 to the point where your coach is not even trying to do it. Isn't that speak louder than any PFF grade or any ranking or any stat that anybody throws out? We watched the game. They could not run the ball in the middle of the field. They didn't try to run the ball in the middle of the field. So I think he has to be banished. I mean, Huff, I think, was asked to do too much without Bosa. Jair, is a kind of a beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I'm with Shanahan. I kind of like Jair. I think he's better player than people think. Ayuk needs to be moved on. I mean, that's kind of my view of these guys. What's the total savings if you cut all five?
Yeah, so look, we can run through this really quickly. So
Yeah.
I think one of the bigger needs that is an underrated talking point for the Niners going into this offseason is the safety position. A lot of this is going to depend on who they hire as defensive coordinator. If they go with Jim Schwartz, yes, the Niners can continue to run the wide nine, but Jim Schwartz likes to run man defense on the back end. Kyle Shanahan and the Niners have always primarily played a lot of zone. Last year, Cleveland was number 1 in man coverage rate. The Niners were 23rd. And I just think that in general, whether you're playing zone or man, the Niners need to bring in a better coverage safety. And I just think that Jair Brown and Malik Mustafa are too similar as players, and they're both not great on the back end as far as being that center field type of safety, that ball hawk who you have trust in dropping back in coverage. So Jair is going into the final year of his contract. I think he's better around the line of scrimmage. I loved him coming out of Penn State, but I think Malik Mustafa has an additional year of team control. He's really good when he's operating downhill. He's so physical. He can make really good plays against the run. And if you pair him up with the good coverage safety, I kind of like that tandem. So if Jair is on the team in 2026, his cap number is $3.8 million. The dead cap number, if he's cut, is only $231,000. So that is cap savings right there of $3.5 million. Wide receiver Brandon Ayuk is obviously an interesting one because if he's on the roster in 2026, it's a cap number of $14.6 million. If he's cut pre-June 1, it's $29.5 million in dead money. Post-June 1, it goes down to $8.3 million in dead money. But the Niners have known that they're going to eat a large dead cap number, and they've already paid out a lot of the guarantees of his contract because he got $76 million when he signed that deal. You could trade him, but I'm not sure he has a lot of value coming off the injury. Does he even want to play football any longer? How does he look coming off that injury? And he's expensive. So I don't know if a team is going to want to inherit that contract and give up value for him. But by voiding his guarantees, the Niners do gain significant future cap flexibility, potentially clearing like $85 million in future commitments across 2026 to 2028. Then there's Bryce Huff. If he's on the team, cap number in 2026 is $5.3 million. There's no dead money, according to Over the Cap, if he's cut. So that opens up $5.3 million. For what it's worth, I would keep Huff. I think he's a really good Robin if Nick Bosa is the Batman. And he started the year off pretty well. He had, I think, 5 sacks in his first 7 games. Didn't have a sack after that. That tells me he needs some help around him. He's a situational speed pass rusher. And I think that he's a good player to have on the team this upcoming season, but no dead money and $5.3 million is the money that you save. Jake Brendel going into the final year of his contract. Larry, I'm with you. The Niners have to upgrade at center and left guard. They have to be better along the offensive line to close that gap on the Seahawks. That defense isn't going anywhere. So Brendel's cap number, if he's on the team, is $5.4 million. If he's cut, the dead number is $2.4. That's cap savings of 2.9. And then D Winters, if he's cut, the dead dollars, $33,000. If he's on the roster, his cap number is 3.6. So the cap savings there is about $3.5 million. So that's 3.5 for D. It's nearly 3 for Brendel. It would be 5.3 for Huff. And it would be 3.5 for Jair. So you do the simple math there. The Niners would be able to open up a decent amount of cap space to go after maybe one player and allocate those dollars toward that one player or multiple players. So that was kind of my thought process there.
Well, and it's great. It's a great thing. I mean, you really did do a good exercise here and you did a lot of work on it. So congratulations on it. And also I think it makes sense to say goodbye to a lot of these guys. Now, I do agree with your sentiment that they need a better coverage safety. I'm going to share the screen. To me, I've been watching a lot of practices this week, and I didn't watch tons of TCU, but how about this kid, Bud Clark?
Yep.
Look at the coverage here by
it's
Clark.
Bud Clark's work.
Let me turn the volume down on this. We don't have to hear the commentator. But here's Clark just in a drill at the Senior Bowl practice, and look at the blanket coverage here. He's with him. He's with him. He's with him. He's draped. He knocks it away. He got the pick. That's a one-handed pick. Look at this. I mean, this is down the field, and he comes over and makes the play on the ball. Bud Clark had an amazing week. I looked at where he's ranked in the draft. I saw him roughly in the 150 to 160 range. We're talking about a mid-round pick. Man, I mean, the 49ers really maybe trading back, getting a couple extra picks in the third and fourth round.
There. That goal line rep is so nice.
I mean, look at this. Look at this.
Yeah.
That's a pick. That's an unbelievable pick. So granted, now it's practice, but I think I put a lot of credence into the All-Star circuit because it's the best playing against the best. You might watch a college game and it could be Penn State against Illinois, but the Illinois guy could be a future plumber. And so, you're getting NFL guys, future NFL guys against future NFL guys. So I like Bud Clark. Is there a free agent, not necessarily at safety, but is there a free agent that you would like to take some of that savings from some of those cuts and spend it on? Because the one thing the Niners haven't done well is they have not gotten good free agents, it seems like, in a while. I didn't like what they did last year. It's been a while. I mean, you go back to what Harbaugh did when he came here in free agency, getting guys like Justin Smith and, Carlos Rogers. And I mean, they just got a lot better. Dante Whitner. They got impact kind of guys. I'm not seeing that from the 49ers in free agency. Is there a free agent that you want to see them go after?
Well, sticking to the safety position, I think that the free agency crop is somewhat thin. You've got Brian Cook from the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a really good player. Cam Curl is just okay of the Rams. Kevin Byard of the Bears, really good ball hawk, but he's old. I think he returns to Chicago. You have Jabril Peppers of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He went there after he was let go by New England. Jalen Thompson out of Arizona. Kobe Bryant of the Seattle Seahawks is a player who's still young. I like him. And then you have Reed Blankenship from the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's the free agency class at the safety position. None of those guys really move the needle for me outside of Brian Cook. What I'd honestly rather do is probably draft a safety in the mid to later rounds. The Niners have had success in doing that. Look no further than Talanoa Hufanga, who they drafted in the 5th round, and he's become an all-pro player. But if you open up some cap room and free up some dollars with some of the moves that I mentioned there on top of the cap space that you already have. And the Niners are in the top half of the league in cap space going into the 2026 offseason, and they can create even more dollars if they want to. The free agents that are really the cream of the crop and the apple of my eye, Tyler Linderbaum at center, I think would be a huge upgrade over Jake Brendel. I'm pretty sure I saw you talking about him this week, and I've been talking about him throughout this offseason for the Niners. He's a really good run blocking center from Baltimore. That's a very complex scheme that Todd Monken was running. So I think he would be a good scheme fit for Kyle Shanahan. They run the ball a lot of zone stuff that Baltimore has been doing under Monken. And the Niners have been willing to invest in the center position. I mean, Weston Richburg got a nice little contract early in Kyle Shanahan's tenure. Unfortunately for him, his career was cut short due to injury. Alex Mack got some decent coin. So Tyler Linderbaum's a fantastic player. At tight end, you don't know when George Kittle's coming back. I'd like to see a blocking tight end come in here. Isaiah Likely is a really intriguing player. Kenyon Sadiq in the draft would be very interesting. Ooh. Obviously, that doesn't have to do with free agency. Kyle Pitts as a weapon, if you want to get more explosive and faster on offense, I think that his best football is ahead of him. He's still in his mid-20s. And when George Kittle comes back, if you let Jawan Jennings go, because I think he gets $20+ million, I think that Kyle Pitts in the slot can pretty much be like in that Jawan Jennings type of role. So I'd look at him. Alec Pierce, the Colts wide receiver, has led the NFL in yards per catch the last 2 years. He's tall. He's big. He runs really well. He has really good hands. We'll see if the Colts put the franchise tag on him. I wouldn't go after George Pickens after what happened with Brandon Ayuk, but if the Cowboys don't put the franchise tag on him, he becomes an intriguing option. A player who really helps you get faster and more explosive is Rashid Shaheed. He was probably my favorite trade that any team made at the NFL trade deadline. John Schneider knocked that trade out of the park. He didn't give up a lot to bring him in. And as a returner, as a gadget guy, and as a wide receiver, he's been so dynamic for Indianapolis. So those are really some of my top free agents that I would really look at. Along the defensive line, John Franklin Myers is somebody who can play defensive end and defensive tackle. Jalen Phillips was superb for the Eagles down the stretch after Howie made the move for him. The injury history is a little bit concerning, but this free agency crop, there's some really good players. Trey Hendrickson on a 1-year contract. The Niners have had interest in him over the last couple of years. That's another name to throw out there.
Yeah, God, Hendrickson would be a absolute find. And, you're getting Bosa back, but I think you're going to have to add a significant player there to upgrade.